Today I bring you into my she shed. It's really windy outside and it's supposed to be, I guess, until this evening. So what better place to come and plant some seeds? And I'm going to show you such simple ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be hard. It really doesn't. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that say you have to do things a certain way or your seeds won't come up and you'll have failure, blah, blah, blah. But I really don't feel that's true. I've never had any issue, and it's not like I use any kind of super special planting mix or soil mix or any of those things. So I'm going to show you some tips that I do and some things that I use when I'm planting. Really all you need, if you don't like your hands to get dirty, you can always use some gloves. I always go to places like the Dollar Tree store, things like that. I want to keep things cheap, although they're $1.25 now. But I don't like to wear gloves. I just deal with the little splinters if I get them, pull them out with tweezers. I use a little shovel. I use a little bit bigger shovel for my pail, which is this that I use. I fill it with the dirt that I'm going to use, and I'll show you what I use to put in there. Chinese chopstick. I use these tweezers. They come in really handy. A Sharpie, because I'm going to write on these. I was really surprised at the time when I bought these. I got them from a nursery store, but I got them for $1.99. They come with a whole bunch of little tiny holes. I usually start the plants out in these. Anything that's going to get kind of big, kind of fast, I'll use like the 6-pack things and set them in the little square container thing. You know what I'm talking about. But as far as for the most part, any seed that I'm going to start, especially if it's getting close to the time of planting them, I'll go ahead and plant them in these little tiny cells and then just pluck each one and plant them where I want them. Super simple. And even to this day, these really aren't bad at all. You can find them in good clusters of like 5, 10, stuff like that for not too bad of a price. And even some of the stores will carry them for probably $2 and something. I don't know. I don't think they've really gone up that much. You can also ask around, and some people will just throw their little containers away after they bought these, or some of the 6-packs and things like that. They'll just throw them away when they're done with them. So ask people, your friends, family, if they have any laying around that you care that you take, and save some more money. And then these are what I set them in. They have different kinds. These do not have holes, and I get them that way on purpose because you'll see my setup when I'm finished planting the seeds. I'll put them under grow lights. So it's a great tray for when I water stuff. It collects just enough water down here where it keeps everything moist. I don't have to worry about things drying out so quickly. And sometimes people will plant directly on one of these that have the holes, and then they'll lay it right inside of here again, so that way this can collect the water, keep it there, keep things a little moist. You can lift it up once in a while, make sure there's not too much water, stuff like that, but it really cuts down on water some. You just don't want to fill it too high so that things don't get waterlogged. So as you can see, nothing big. I've got some Garden in Bloom Blue Ribbon Blend. It's little potting soil, got some little vitamins and nutrients in there for it. It's for outdoor and indoor. And I've got some of the Whitney Farms raised bed mix. It's organic. I try to always get organic stuff anytime I can. I'm trying very hard to stay organic and be as healthy as possible. So basically what I did, I just kind of used half and half. I put it in here, then I used the other trowel to mix things around, but I used this to scoop it. It's a nice scoop. And then I also use this to fill the trays and fill in those little cell holes. So basically this is what I use in that bucket to mix up the dirt once it's in there. Now some of my seeds are kind of older, so I'm going to kind of take a chance and see if I can get them to sprout. It'll be pretty cool if they do. What I'm putting in next is sweet peas. They're the flower type, not the edible type. Right now I'm planting a bunch of flowers, and then my next set of this tray will be vegetables. So I'm going to continue and I'll show you how I plant these. So you're just going to look on the backs of these. You can look on the computer machine, all kinds of different ways to find out what makes plants the happiest. How deep should you plant them? What kind of location, sunny, shade, whatever. But usually the seed packets are pretty good about telling you all that information. So basically, they look like that, little round balls. These are nice. You can kind of handle them a lot easier with these. But it says 1/2 inch deep, so you figure for those of you who aren't good with measurements, you can get a plain one of these and then put it up to a measuring tape and mark it with 1/4 inch on the end of the bar, and then with a felt marker, that is, and then that way you know how deep to go. Now in this case it's 1/2 inch, so it's about so much, and so I'm just going to simply poke that in the dirt about 1/2 inch down. Then you're just going to kind of spin it and come out, and then that way the dirt doesn't stick, because right now this dirt is kind of moist, which is just fine. It'll work fantastic. And it kind of makes it nice because the dirt won't cave back in on itself. And once I've got those holes made, then I can just go ahead and drop them on in with my fingers, or I can take my little nifty tweezers, pick them up, and drop it in. Nice and simple. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just use my fingers since they're nice and big. I'm going to put one per hole. I really don't know how much room these need and if they're even going to bloom or grow or anything. I think I got all the holes. They're so dark with the dirt, it's hard to tell. I'll put those ones back in, and then I'll also be putting some of these just directly to the dirt outside. So I put these all in a pile on all the ones that I've planted, and that way later on I can go to my book, which I'll show you in a bit, and show you how I mark things down. Then all I do is I use the little pointy stick. I don't need to push any seeds around because they all dropped right where they needed to be because they're so heavy. And I just use the tip to cover them up with a little dirt. And then when it all comes down to it, when I'm finished planting all these little seeds and all the different lines down the way, then I'll just kind of sprinkle a little light amount of dirt over the top, because I didn't press down or anything yet, and so there's still room to put dirt. There you go. Now I got all those little seeds covered up. Then I'm going to take one of these plastic stick labels. I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to write what it is, what type it is, as far as there be sweet peas, and they are the royal mixture. So I'm going to put both of those on here. And a lot of times they even draw a little flower, kind of what they look like a little bit, just because it's fun. There you go. And I stick them right on in there. Usually if I'm planting just one row, I just put it right at the back of the road. Now if I had some different ones, if I only wanted to plant 4, right where I start the next one, I would put it directly behind the new starting. That's how I do it. It's easier to keep track of what's what. Everything in front of the stick is what the stick says. Now once I'm done planting this entire tray, I will water it nicely, and then I'll bring it over here and I will put it in one of these trays. I got these grow lights from Harbor Freight, and they weren't too bad. I think they were like 22 something for each. They're kind of shorter, but they have 2 bulbs on each side, and it should be sufficient. I've done some measurements of the heat, and depending on what time of the day it is, it keeps it about 70 to 80 degrees in this area under there, so it'll be perfect. Another thing I keep in the she shed is a thermometer so that I know what the degrees are in here at all times. This is clear away from the plants, but 75 in here, not too shabby. So once the summer comes, I'll definitely be needing to open some windows. I've got one on that side and one on that side to keep a nice airflow, so that way mold doesn't happen and it doesn't get too hot in here, because it definitely gets into the hundreds around here. So then once you've achieved planting your seeds and putting them under the grow lights, you go to your book. I got this one at Walmart. It's 2024 and 25, so that makes it nice. Found one with a cute floral print. And so what I've been putting in there is different things like, when spring began, because otherwise I forget when it starts, when I planted certain things, on what date, and I put some little notes over here. Once I'm done planting all the packets and all this and that, I'll go back and write down every single seed that I planted today. I'm going to put it over here just as a checklist that I can reference from in a nice order. But this is a great way to keep track of what it is you've planted and when, so that way you can kind of just have a quick look and see what's going on. I hope this thing on the seeds really helped you because it's so nice and simple. Doesn't have to be complicated. Bye for now. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Love you.